It's a new day. Our CI is broken. Our Twitter might have passed 4,000. Maybe. If I knew how to use Twitter. Nope, didn't pass 4,000. We have version 0.5. And anyway, today I'm going to be trying to simultaneously embed and interact with the code. So if you're not that familiar with the OpenGL version, it's possible to use this embed command. And it'll allow you to run commands. Like pause a scene and run commands. So I can do things like self.add OpenGL circle. And I should just put that in there. However, it can't interact with the mouse. And alternatively, I could use this interact, and then I can interact with the mouse. Which is pretty neat. But I can't type commands. So that won't work, for example. So the first step to getting getting live previewing will be to make both of these happen at the same time. And I haven't thought much about how to do this, but I think it should be possible. What I think I'll have to do is run the interact function in a separate thread. So I'll run the interact function in a separate thread, then run embed in the current thread. And I think that should do it. However, I know very little about Python threading. And it'll probably be pretty bug prone. It's probably going to be a side effect of this. But gotta do it somehow. So I can just find an example of this. I don't think you have to do a ton. Actually, if it comes to it, I can probably just copy from the, not the OpenGL renderer, but the frame server impl. This actually uses a thread, although I can't find it. And it says it's not accessed. Oh, I think this is actually taken out because the thread was used to watch the file. Though I think it's still used in main? If you use the WebGL renderer. Just kidding. Main has changed underneath me, as is common for code in Manim. I have no idea what this is doing now. I guess render is a command. CLI render commands. Wait. It's got to be a function called render somewhere. File C names global options. Well, he found a way to do it. File C names global options. Well, he found a way to do it. Alright, so here's the WebGL renderer frame server impl.get server.start. Oh, and the threading is handled by gRPC. So to do it again, I have to figure out how to do it myself. Oh well. I don't think this is anything terribly difficult. So you get a threading.thread. You pass the function. And then you pass the arguments in a tuple. It says thread 1 starting, thread 1 finishing. Okay, so here I'm going to try to start this interact function in a new thread. Some might say I should at least read to the bottom of this before starting. But I prefer to go in and break things. For daemon, a daemon thread will shut down immediately when the program exits. Program running threads that are not daemons, the program will wait for them. Programs that are daemons are just killed when the program is exiting. Daemons are sometimes demons. So this will determine whether they're just killed. They're just killed or they're left around to finish and then the program will exit. Okay, so that's this demon equals true will do. It'll just kill it. Join will wait for it. That's to wait for it to stop. Thread.join. You can do for each of them thread.join. Using a thread pool executor? I don't think we need to do that. Just start a group of threads. Yeah, I don't think we need to do that. Race conditions are bound to be terrible. Okay, so I'm gonna actually try to do this. I'm gonna say interact thread. And that'll give me a threading thread. And I'll basically just do this. So the target will be interact. And the args will be self. Now this is pretty dangerous on its own because both threads will have access to self, the one stopping and the one I'm spawning. So I'll do this dot start. And I should import threading. Okay, so now when I get here, this should be self dot. If I were to run this interact 2, what I would expect is it'll start this interaction thread, then it'll keep going. And it'll just go until that interacting thread stops, I guess. So I just make sure that's actually what happens. Okay, so I think that is what's happening. And then when I kill it, it stops. Okay. So that worked pretty much the way I'd expect it to. Now if all I do is just... Maybe all I have to do is do a self.embed here. Could that be it? No, because I don't see the embed command. So why would that happen? This has a while loop, but that shouldn't actually matter, I think, since it's happening in a different thread. Oh, I did self.interact here. I don't want to do that. So let me try this. Interact takes one position. Oh, I did self.interact here. I don't want to do that. So let me try this. Interact takes one positional argument, but two are given. What? What was the second one? Interact takes one positional argument. Oh, I did. Is it because self.interact is here? So it gets self twice? Let's see if that changes anything. Nope, we get a seg fault. I'm gonna try to join here. If that's actually how you even join. That is how you join. Nope, same thing. So I wonder what would cause this to seg fault. Well, let's see. Alright, so that's fine. This I'm sure will be fine. I'll do this and I'll do pass. That's fine, I guess. No, it must be calling render. And why would that seg fault? It must be this. It has to be. Okay. But if I were to do interact on my own, and just do self.interact, then that would be fine. So it's something about using it from the other thread, which is pretty annoying. Self.dd self.moving objects. Well, gotta figure it out somehow, I guess. So let me open up the OpenGL renderer. Def render, and it's probably something from here. It's probably something in update frame. So to start, I think that should make it work. Animation elapsed time. Okay. Let me try that. Alright, so that's fine. Let me try this. That's seg faults. So why would that happen? Self.framebufferObject.clear. I get the feeling this is something that I won't be able to debug on my own. I'll have to find what Einarf thinks or something like that. But just to test this, I'm gonna try just doing self.renderer .framebufferObject .clear. Cannot access member. I'm just gonna assume that that error is wrong. And then try doing this. Yeah, that seg faults. But I bet if I run this myself, I just from my own thread call this, doesn't seg fault. Yeah. So there's something up with sharing frame buffer objects between threads. Man, that's unfortunate. Oh well, probably end up asking Einarf about that. No, I won't do it right now. I have to take a note of it somewhere though. Actually, maybe I can just write a piece of code that demonstrates the... Actually, maybe I can just write a piece of code that demonstrates the issue. Although isolating it with OpenGL code could be pretty hard. I wonder where the frame buffer object came from. Self-context detect frame buffer. Okay, I'll just ask him really quickly about why this happens. And then probably just stop working on it till I find an answer, because I doubt I'll be able to debug that myself. Try to update a frame buffer object. The one that created it. Is this expected? Another way to share a frame buffer object between two threads. Share. Yes, talk about when I try to update a frame buffer object from a different thread than the one that created it. Is it expected? Is there another way to share a frame buffer object between two threads? I'll just ask that. And hopefully there is. I think there should be. Otherwise it'd be... I guess it'd be impossible to do two things at once when there's one of those windows active. Dang, well, I wish I could have gotten further with that. Well, as long as I can't do that. And the previous PR I put up is held up on the CI checks. I guess I'll work more on the zero knowledge project I've been doing. Switch. Is it this one? I guess I just started building off the OpenGL.py. There's something called like expressions or something like that. Expressions.py. Yeah, this is what I was trying to use to convey looking at things and stuff like that. Let me just see how that works. And we got a module not found error. That's great. Great. Anyway, I made these faces, which is basically a generalized version of the pie creatures, but they won't be copyrighted. So I think what I'm going to do is just start animating this person, like creating a graph and stuff. and just start making a video from there. And then I'll work on that for a while. Pretty sure I don't need any of these classes anymore. I wrote a ton of code to figure out how getting these facial expressions to work would happen. I wrote a ton of code to figure out how getting these facial expressions to work would happen. I don't think I need it anymore. I probably don't need that anymore either. I'm gonna put in a new file called Zero Knowledge. I already have one. Yeah, I'm gonna start from here. Oh, and this is where I started working on the intersection code for the faces. So I think all I need, switch this to moving vertices. Let's see how this looks. That is not the one I thought it was. It was this moving vertices. So I'm gonna move this to zero knowledge. Take out this one right now. Okay, great. So basically I want to animate that that person finding, like solving this recoloring graph. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna animate this graph shrinking and the person coming up from the ground to show that he finds it. So I'm gonna give this a more meaningful name. I'm gonna call this Find the Recoloring. Color A. And change that here too. And at the end of this, I'm just going to add in that facial expression. Close that, close that, close that. I'm going to import these two. Expression. I don't think I need expression utils. I think all I need is expression object. Hopefully. Now if I look at expression object, it has the eye and has the head. Okay, so since that's imported, I'm just going to play the creation. I'm just going to add in a face like right here. So I'm going to say head equals head, and then just add that. Let's see if this does what I want. Great. Now I'm going to want this to be not just right here. It should be like in the bottom left corner. I think there's a two-corner method. Yep. I guess it's left us down by default. I guess it'd be like DL. I think that's the shortcut. So let me look at that. Okay. It's gonna have to be actually smiling. So a few different mouth types. think what I want to do here is large smile to show him finding it. Okay, he's gonna have to actually look at it. I have a look in direction. I wonder if I have a look at method. Head, eyes, mouth, method. Head, eyes, mouth. It's set eyeball offset. So I guess look in direction is a method of the eyes rather than the head. So if I want, I'm going to have to implement a look in direction for this. And it's going to have to, I guess, just call this for each of the eyes. So let's just do this. Get the left eye, get the right eye. Like left eye, center dot, move to left eye, neutral position plus like that. Okay, so I'm gonna try doing look and direction, and I'll do like g dot get center minus head dot eyes dot get center. So I think this will have it look at the graph. And it is only in the left eye. So I'm going to want to do it for the right eye too. Also, I'm just going to do an add here. So I can do for eye in these two. Do this and just do this for both of them. And I'm going to do self eyes left, self eyes right. And this will be pretty clear. I'm going to do the same thing here as well. And set eyeball offset. Yeah, like this. Okay, so let me try to look at the graph now. And it does look at the graph, which is great. Now, I'm going to want to animate this. And to do that, I think I'm going to make the head come up from the bottom of the screen and the graph shrink. So to do this, two corner down L, look in direction there. Yeah, that's fine. We do head dot shift, and how far do I want it to move down? I think this distance, which is probably the default, this is probably some default buff. That's how far I want him to be underneath the window. So, I want to get the vector from the bottom of the window to him. So it'll be down times head dot get center at 1. This is the y coordinate. Although this is a negative number. So I have to do to get a positive vector. Actually, I could get the negative vector. So I get like the y radius. So look at this minus the head center. So this is a vector pointing toward the bottom of the screen. Then I'm going to shift him down by this times 2. Okay, I think this should have this the head off of the screen. And what did I do? Did I miss the parentheses? Yeah, I did. Great. So he's off the screen. Then what I'm going to do is self.play. Then I'm basically going to shift him up by this much. So let me just get the head